Granit Xhaka officially is no longer an Arsenal player. I know this is old news. Apologies, I haven't had time to really make a video on it, but I thought he's definitely warrant talking about. Obviously, we have other news. William Saliba, which we've spoken about previously, has officially pen to paper, as well as Reece Nelson, which are both really good. But this really good that we've tied those two down, particularly William Saliba. But of course, this video is all about Granit Xhaka. Now, if you go through my videos of the last 3-4 years, maybe even 8 years, I think I made a video when Granit Xhaka first joined the club, and he's had a bit of a roller coaster ride as an Arsenal player, and he's a player who I think a lot of fans, including myself, has gained a hell of a lot of respect for over the last 18 months. Of course, he was booed out of the stadium, one of the notorious game against Crystal Palace under Unai Emery. He was telling the fans to F off as they all booed him off the pitch after a horrible performance at the time. I wasn't actually at that game, so I can't tell you whether I booed or cheered because I wasn't there, but he certainly was public enemy number one until Mikel Arteta came in. It did seem as though he wasn't played in the right position for the first good few years at the club. Was played as a holding midfielder. I think he played alongside Aaron Ramsey when Wenger was still at the club. And it wasn't really his best position. So he didn't really thrive. But the last season in particular, maybe even the season before that, but when the likes of Gabriel Jesus came in and Xhaka then Arteta played him as a number 8, box-to-box midfielder, we really saw the best of Granit Xhaka last season, and he was a revelation, as you guys will remember from my last video that I was at a game. This is the last game of the season. Xhaka scoring 2 goals in his last game for the club, when it was pretty much being said that he would be his last game unofficially, and it turns out it was his last game. And last season he was a revelation at Arsenal, a player who I would have liked us to keep, but the fact that we've got over £20 million for him, it's very good business for a 30-year-old into his last year of his contract as well. We paid £25 million for the midfielder, like I said, 7-8 years ago now. We bought him for 25 mil. We sold him for 21. So we've only lost £5 million on a player who was a worthy servant. He came back from where we all thought he didn't have a future at the club anymore. Mikel Arteta convinced him to stay a couple summers ago, and he never really looked back after that. And he lost the captaincy, of course, under Emery as well. I know this is a bit, I'm trying to jog my memory a little bit, but obviously he was the captain of the club, then he wasn't the captain of the club, and then he was deputy captain under Arteta last season. And he almost became a bit of a cult hero and a fan favourite, and he's a player who, his leadership on and off the pitch, and we've said this for years, watching the training drills, watching the documentary as well that Amazon put out a couple of years ago, that he was certainly the captain of the team. It seemed he was one of the big leaders of the team, and he's going to be a big loss to that dressing room, a real big loss to that dressing room. And I think what we're losing in Granit Xhaka, hopefully I think we're going to be gaining in Declan Rice coming in very soon, with his leadership qualities. I think he'll slot right in as one of the captains of the team, if I'm being honest with you. A real character on and off the pitch. Something that we're definitely losing in Granit Xhaka, and hopefully we're gaining again now with Declan Rice coming in. Personally, like I said, I would have loved Xhaka to stay another year. I think he could have been great in the Champions League potentially. But time has come that they've gone their separate ways, and the fact we've got a decent fee for him makes it even better. But my thoughts on Granit Xhaka has certainly changed, as I mentioned, over the last 18 months. He went from a really bad servant of the club to a really good one, and I think looking back on it now, some of those fans, including myself maybe, that criticised him was maybe a bit too harshly. But he was a player that gave it all his all out there, always fought for the badge, and especially the last couple of years, and also wasn't afraid to get in a few scraps or two and helping his teammates out. And we're going to need a bit of that next season for a player who always had their back. And my favourite moment from Granit Xhaka before we wrap up this video has to be when we beat Tottenham away last season, and they're all going to celebrate with the Arsenal supporters in the corner, and Arteta just clocked Xhaka. Something was going on with Ramsdale and somebody else. It might have been Richarlison, I don't know, I can't remember. Xhaka's gone to run over there, and Arteta's just ran to him and just basically got him out of the situation. It was very funny. If you've seen the video on Twitter, it is hilarious. But I'm definitely going to miss Granit Xhaka. He's a player who I didn't really think would leave Arsenal, and has always been an integral part of that team, and it's important now that hopefully the likes of Declan Rice can slot in and really do a job, because we were going to miss him on out of the pitch, and hopefully the club can do their best to find a reasonable replacement in leadership qualities. And as a human being, like I said, I've seen some interviews that he's done. He definitely thought he was out the door a couple of years ago, and it's ended on good terms. The fans love him now, and I'm sure he'll be back at the Arsenal very, very soon, whether it's in a coaching capacity in a few years' time. He's got what he's wanted. He's got a 4 or 5 year deal for a 30-year-old to play in Germany, a league that he's played in before, of course, for Gladbach, and he's also got the opportunity to be coached by one of the midfield best in Xabi Alonso. So, you know, it's not bad going for him. But for me, I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you, Granit Xhaka, for your service as an Arsenal player, and you will be sorely missed. Like this video if you want to subscribe if you're new, and let me know down in the comments down below your final thoughts on Granit Xhaka. I'm going to wrap this up here. Like this video if you want to subscribe if you're new. It'll be more for more Arsenal transfer content. Take care.